Hello, this is I'm going to be working through this worksheet 5.2, solving quadratic equations. So, and this will be a mixture of all the different methods we've been talking about. So on this one, the first one, 2x squared minus 2 equals 40. Notice there's only an x squared. There's no just x by itself term. So I'm going to solve this the traditional way of just undoing everything that's been done to x. So first thing I would undo is the minus 2. So that'd be 2x squared is equal to 42 because I add 2 to both sides. Then I divide both sides by 2, and I get x squared is equal to 21. And then I'd square root both sides, and I get x is equal to the square root of 21 or negative square root of 21. And that would be my answer right there. Boom. Okay, same thing over here. I'd subtract a 4 first, and that would give me 4x squared is equal to 96. Divide both sides by 4, and I get 4, what would that be, 24? Square root both sides, and I get x is equal to the square root of 24 or negative square root of 24. But of course, I can simplify that, so that would be, I can pull out a 4, so that'd be 2 times the square root of 6, or negative 2 times the square root of 6. And that, my friends, would be my answer. Moving right along, here's another one. Add 4 to both sides, and I get 3. Whoops, sorry, 3. Whoops. I would get 3. What is going on with my pen? It's too big of an arc. Let's see, that would be... that's weird. Okay, this would be 3n squared is equal to, add 4 to both sides, we get 24. Divide both sides by 3, and we get n squared is equal to 8, which means n is equal to 2 rad 2, or negative 2 rad 2. That's what square root of 8 is. Okay, one more of these types. So if I add 2 to both sides, I get 5n is equal to 85. Divide both sides by 5, and I get n, 5n squared. Divide both sides by 5, and I get n squared is equal to 17. And then I square root both sides, and I get n is equal to the square root of 17, or negative square root of 17. And that's, I can't reduce that, can't simplify it because it's a prime. Okay, so now we're getting to these other ones here. This one has notice it has an n squared and an n, so I can't use this method I've been using. So I've got to use one of the others, which would be factoring, completing a square, or quadratic formula. Okay, so on this one, factoring, this looks like a job for factoring. I think I can factor this, so we'll go like that. 0, that would be n, that would be n. Looks like maybe 8 and 8. Yep, 8 and 8. 8 times 8 is 64, and 8n plus 8n is 16n. So that means that n plus 8 equals 0, or n plus 8 equals 0, which is the same thing. So this is just going to have one answer, n equals negative 8. Okay, moving right along here. Is this thing factorable? Let's see. We got a v and a v, and we got what? 40 times 1, 20 times 2, probably not. Looking for a difference of 3, right? So how about 10 times 4? That's not quite it. How about 5 times 8? Sure enough, that's a difference of 3, okay? So I want a negative 8 and a positive 5. Once again, if I use the zero product rule, that tells me that because this is equal to 0, that tells me that v minus 8 is equal to 0, or v plus 5 is equal to 0, which means v is equal to 8, or v is equal to negative 5. Okay, this one I noticed that there's a 4 will go into everything in there. So I'm going to divide the whole thing by 4 first, and it's nice because I have a 0 over here. I don't have to, it just disappears essentially, because if I divide this by 4, that would leave me with 2b squared Divide this by 4, that would be leaving me with negative 6b. Divide that by 4, that leaves me with negative 36. And divide 0 by 4, and I get just 0. So that was nice. And oh, look at that. I can divide out another 2. So I'll divide everything by 2 again, and I get b squared minus 3b minus 18 equals 0. So apparently I could have divided by 8 to begin with. Now, hopefully it's factorable. So that would be b there and b there. And what are my options? 2 and 9, which doesn't give me a difference of 3. How about 3 and 6? Yes, 3 and 6. I want the 6 to be negative and 3 to be positive. So I use the zero products rule to tell me that b plus 3 is equal to 0, or b minus 6 is equal to 0, which means b is equal to negative 3, or b is equal to positive 6. And that would be my final answer. Okay, run over here. It looks like I can divide everything by 5. So I'll do that. That'd be p squared plus 2p minus, let's see, 24 is equal to 0. Yeah, 5 times 20 is 100, 5 times 40. Yep, okay. So then we're going to go ahead and try to factor this guy. And I get p, and looks like maybe 6 and 4, because they have a difference of 2. So, and I want the 6 to be positive, the p to be negative. So then from here, I know that p plus 6 is equal to 0, or p minus 4 is equal to 0. Therefore, p is equal to negative 6, or p is equal to 4. Awesome. Okay, down here, so already don't need to factor anything out, don't need to divide by anything. I just start factoring right away. We get b and b, and maybe 4 and 8, because that'll add up to 12. Yep. So I'm going to skip a step here and just go right to b must be equal to negative 4 or negative 8. Can you see that? Okay, because b plus 4 equals 0 and b plus 8 actually equals 0. Let's do another one here. So it looks like this is ready to factor right away. So I go p and p. That's equal to 0. Looking for a negative, because this tells me the same sign. This tells me that they're both negative. And it looks like 6 and 8. Yeah, 6 times 8 would give me 48, and 6 plus 8 is equal to 14. So once again, my answer would be p equals 6 or 8. Because I set those two equal 0, and that's what the solution would be. Okay, we're flying through this stuff now. There's a p here and a p here. The factors of 28 are 4 and 7, and that adds up to 11. So I want a minus 7 and a minus 4. That means my answer for my solution for p is 7 or 4. Let's see that. Comment that. This factoring stuff is fun, isn't it? b 0. Let's see. Multiply to give me 12, has a difference of 4. That must be 6 and 2. So that'd be a plus there and a minus there. So and that would give me b equals negative 6 or b equals 2. I know I'm skipping steps here, but hopefully you can follow. If you need to do the extra step on your paper, that's great. Here we got some stuff on the other side, so we'll move it to the right side first. So that'd be k squared plus 3k minus 28 equals 0. And looking for factors of 28, I have a difference of 3. That'd be 7 and 4. Yep, 7 and 4. We want this 7 to be positive and the 4 to be negative. So then if we jump to the solution, that would be k equals negative 7 and k equals 4. And same thing here, we got to move some stuff first. So that'd be n squared plus 13n plus 42 equals 0. And if we factor that, that'd be n and n. And we're looking for factors of 42 that add up to 13. That would be 6 and 7 plus and plus. So then my answer would be n equals -6 or n equals -7. And these are all factorable. It's nice. 3n squared plus, nope, minus 12n, because I need to move the 12n over, minus 36 equals 0. And I notice I can divide everything by 3, so I'll do that. N squared minus 4n minus 12 is equal to 0. Now, can I factor? Looking for factors of 12 that have a difference of 4. That sounds like 2 and 6. And I want the 6 to be negative and the 2 to be positive. So that means my solution would be n equals -2 and n equals 6. Okay, over here we got b squared minus 10b minus 21. And let's factor it. Factor. b and b. And we need factors of 21 to add to 10. That would be 3 and 7, clearly. And that's a minus. Oh, no, we want factors of 21 that have a difference of 10. Whoops. Oh, I don't think we have that. Let's see. Yeah, 7 and 3 would give me 4. Oh, that's supposed to be a plus. Yeah, silly. Okay, good. So once again, we're looking for factors of 21 that add to 10. So that'd be a -7 and a -3. And that means b is equal to 7 and b is equal to 3. Okay. Get everything on the same side. 3x squared minus 15x minus 72 is equal to 0. So I can divide everything by 3. So that'd be x squared minus 5x minus 24 equals 0. Because 0 divided by 3 is 0. So now let's try to factor x and x. And the factors of 24 that have a difference of 5, that would be 3 and 8, wouldn't it? Yep, 3 and 8, that'd be a minus and a plus. So that means x equals -3 or x equals 8. And we got some, okay. X squared minus 3x equals -2, so that would be x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals 0. This will definitely factor, but I'm just, for a change of pace, going to use the quadratic formula. So let's do x is equal to -b, which would be 3, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which would be 9, minus 4 times 1 times 2. The whole thing's over 2 times 1. So that'd be x equals 3 plus or minus. That would be 9 minus 8, which would be 1. Okay, what's the square root of 1? That's 1. So this is going to be 3 plus 1 over 2 and 3 minus 1 over 2. Of course, 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So my answer would be 2 and 1. Did I get some of them right? Yay! Okay, so there's a bunch of factoring and other, and I will post another worksheet that'll have more that you'll have to use the quadratic formula or complete the square on. All right, there you go.